The Heartbreak Kid is the 16th episode of the 6th season of Full House. This is directed by Zwick, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And in general, it's a pretty good episode. Not a favourite, but I certainly don't mind it. It starts off with Michelle and Denise jumping on the beds. Denise is such a brilliant character, and it's a fun way to start things off. We then have a couple of different narratives, and one involves Jesse, one involves Danny and Joey, and one involves Michelle and Steve. Jesse is trying to write a book report, and he's trying to do it on a laptop. It's a very chunky laptop, and Stephanie is helping him with it, but Nicky and Alex accidentally erase the report. Thankfully, Stephanie comes to the rescue. She's able to find a backup. But there are some good lessons here. First of all, just because somebody's older, it doesn't mean they know more than a younger person. I think with technology ever increasing, this is just constantly the case. I say this as a 30-something-year-old who has got no idea about half of the technology that's coming out now, and I don't want to know either. It's very scary. And we also have a lesson that actually could be quite important for when this was released. Don't leave laptops lying around because things might get deleted. I think for us today, that's common knowledge. There are plenty of stories of children deleting things and breaking things. But I guess when a laptop was a kind of a new thing and not many people had them, it might not have been that obvious. So some, I think, important takeaways there. And well, the third takeaway is back up your files. If you're writing a report, make multiple copies. So I liked that part of the episode. I thought it worked really well. Then we have a part with Danny and Joey. Danny wants Joey to clean out his closet, which is packed full. And while he's there, he finds this kind of like shoebox with little mementos that Joey has kept. And he finds a photo of Danny's high school girlfriend with a note on the back. It turns out Joey also dated her. And Danny ends up phoning her to find out when exactly they dated. How long after they broke up did it take Joey to date her? And it turns out she was actually dating both of them just to make a younger guy jealous. And this younger guy was Jesse. It's good fun. It's a nice part of the narrative. I like the fact that Danny didn't get too annoyed that Joey basically swooped in as soon as his girlfriend was free. Because on the one hand, that's not a great thing to do, but at the same time, who really cares? After this amount of time has passed, and it's not as if he's with the girlfriend still, who really cares? So I like the way that it was handled. Danny was very believable, though, in his response. And then we come to Michelle. And this is adorable, kind of heartbreaking, because she gets really upset. At the start of the episode, DJ and Steve are icing heart-shaped cookies for school, to sell at school. And Michelle wants a cookie, of course, so Steve very sweetly gives her some icing and some sprinkles and gives it to her as his Valentine, because it's Valentine's Day soon. And DJ jokes that she wouldn't want to stand in between true love. And of course, Michelle hears this, and being very young, thinks that she and Steve must have true love, because of course she doesn't know what it feels like. And Michelle asks Steve to marry her, and playing along, he said yes, why not? I don't think anything particularly bad about this. Plenty of children have pretend weddings. Granted, it's usually with somebody their own age, but everybody could see that this was just a nice, fun thing for them to do. And for Michelle to kind of visualise what a wedding is like, because yes, she went to Becky's, but it was quite a while ago and she was obviously a lot younger then. And DJ's all for this. She even gives Michelle this little ring made out of, I think, like a food tie, and it was really sweet. And then we have the wedding, the family's all gathered, Michelle's soft toys are everywhere, Denise is there, I love Denise, she's fabulous. And then Michelle comes out, and it's kind of two shock factors, one after the other, or not necessarily shock factor, but two reveals one after the other. Michelle comes out in a little wedding dress, absolutely gorgeous, and then a second later we see Comet carrying her train, and it's absolutely adorable. And she and Steve get married, and Steve says, right, me and DJ are off, and Michelle's really confused, because when you're married, you have to live together and spend time together, and Steve's leaving, and Michelle admits that this was a real wedding, or that she thought this was a real wedding, and it's really awkward, because you can feel the tension in the room as nobody knows what the right thing to say is, because they don't want to upset Michelle, but they also have to tell Michelle that this wasn't a real wedding. And ultimately everything worked out right. She felt better, and Steve and DJ want to make it up to her, so Steve buys her pizza with Danny's money. But it was really sweet. But I think there's a really great lesson here that, and this is not new information, of course, but children might not realise that something isn't real. They might actually think that something is more serious than it actually is. And sure, there will be plenty of children who knew it wasn't a real wedding, but I'm sure there are plenty of children who, not fully grasping what a wedding entails, might think that actually this is all that's needed. And I think there's a good lesson there to just be mindful that if you're playing pretend with a child, they might not think that every aspect of it is pretend. So some nice takeaways there. Michelle was absolutely adorable. Steve is such a great guy. I think Steve is such a brilliant, well-written character. And also, I really liked Stephanie and the fact that she was a bit of a whiz with the laptop with Jessie being clueless, because I am starting to feel like that with technology as well. Great episode, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think The Heartbreak Kid will ever be my top favourite, but that being said, it's still a pretty brilliant episode of Full House.